Right now, there are more people building their personal brand than any other time in history. And somehow, some way, the majority of them all look the same. They're all using the same prompts to get the same carousels with the same hooks, and they all sound like soulless, robotic posts. And that's because they are. And I get it. The AI tools have made content creation so much easier. Tasks that used to take weeks or days, you can literally get done in minutes or hours. And the problem with that is that once everybody has access to the same tools, those tools stop being your advantage. And so the question actually becomes, what separates the brands that work, the ones that are actually able to build trust at scale with their audience, from those who are just producing AI slop and just putting out as much content as they possibly can? And so today we're going to talk through the 5 different attributes that the most premium personal brands in the space are all sharing. I'm also going to give tips on how you can immediately implement this advice into your own personal brand so you can elevate it as well. So if that sounds like something that could help you, let's get into it. I've been doing this for a long time. 10 years ago, I started my creative journey building websites and building brands for different companies all around the world. I did that for a number of years until I decided that I wanted to do it for myself. So I started to build my own personal brand using the tactics that I learned from building brands for companies, combined with hours of mentorship from some of the best gurus in the space about how they built their personal brand. And through that, I've identified a bit of a unique view because I came from a corporate space focused completely on visual identity, helping brands with their packaging and to build logos and websites that convert clients. And then I switched to building my own personal brand and started focusing more on how do I get my story out to the public in a way that they actually give a shit about it. And so my journey started on the visuals, and it moved into actually how to package your personal brand and combine them together to build something truly unique and unmistakably you. And so the first attribute we're going to talk about is building a one-of-one positioning. Every premium personal brand has found a way to create a lane that is unmistakably theirs. It's not just a niche, it's the actual lane within that niche. It's their perspective. It's everything that they've learned to get to that point. This is the specific way that you see the world that nobody else can replicate because it comes from your actual combination of experience, skills, and obsessions. And that's all that personal branding is. It's just finding whatever niche you want to create content about and then carving out your own place in that niche through your own interests in a way that makes you feel one of one. You're the guy in fitness who loves to skateboard and also owns a cow. Whatever it is, whatever you can do to really carve out your specific path in that niche is the best way to get over the generic topics and ideas that AI is going to spit out. And so for me, it's building cinematic personal brands. I love to travel. I love to play volleyball. I love photography. I love going to the gym. And so I'm pulling all of those together to help me build a one-of-one positioning with my brand. And so if you can find a way to do this, you're actually building a moat around your personal brand because the deeper you get into it, the harder it is for somebody to copy you. And when I look at what actually makes your positioning defensible, it really comes down to 2 different things. The most durable one, and I'm going to make an entire separate video about this because I think it is the easiest way to separate yourself in your niche, is your visual identity. The look, the feel, and the production of your content. Not just content that looks expensive, but content that looks uniquely and unmistakably like you. And the biggest differentiator and skill set that you can have in an AI era is your taste and your ability to curate different ideas into something that feels like you. Beyond that, other ways are through originality and producing content and ideas that are non-obvious, that haven't explicitly been explored in your niche on social media quite yet. Another thing is actually providing value that people can implement immediately. When people stop watching your content, they know exactly what they need to do in order to take the steps that you're explaining. That is a tactful usefulness that is super important when it comes to creating content that inspires others. And then just really diving into your rarity as a human. You are one of one on this planet, and your specific combination of background, your skill set, the lessons that you've learned, the mistakes that you've made to get you to where you currently are, that is a rare position regardless of where you're at. This is the architect that knows brand strategy, the skateboarder who switched to fitness influencer, or the photographer who switched into building personal brands. And you don't need all of these to start. Just find a couple that are genuinely yours and dive as deep as you can into them. Attribute number 2 is anchoring everything to something real. Every piece of content that you create should come from 2 different sources of inspiration. The first source is external, and this is the inspiration that inspired the entire idea. This could be a long form video, a short form video, a carousel, an article that you read. something you found on Pinterest, whatever that is your external source of inspiration. And then every piece of content should also be paired with an internal source of inspiration. This is how you make these ideas uniquely yours, by anchoring them to a real life situation that happened to you. So you find the source and you think through, how can I make this uniquely mine through my experiences? This could be a story, this could be a client that you worked with, this could be something that you learned in high school, whatever it is. How can you find a way to anchor this external inspiration with something that actually happened in your life? And a general rule to live by is that if that piece of content can be screenshot or uploaded to any other feed in the world and it wouldn't cause any alarms, that should not be on your feed. The only things on your feed should be something that genuinely feels like you. It's easy to find external inspiration, but to tie it to you and to make it feel like your piece of content that can live on nobody else's feed is much harder. And by anchoring it to an actual story that happened, you're building relatability, you're building trust, and you're building authenticity with the people who are watching your content, because now they know that you've gone through the actual exercise or whatever you're discussing. Your internal inspiration is everything. That's what makes somebody stop and say, oh, I've never actually heard it framed like this before. I've heard this topic before, but I've never heard it put through that lens before. And that just becomes a thing that makes all the pieces of content on your feed feel uniquely like yours. And so if you find a piece of inspiration that you like, but you don't have a way to internally anchor it to one of your past experiences, I really think that you should just pass on it. The perspective and how you lived it is the most important part when it comes to building the relatability with your audience. So just a quick gut check. Before your next post, just think, if somebody were to screenshot this and post this on their own feed, would they be able to get away with that? If the answer is yes, then it should not be on your feed, and you need to find a way to inject more personality into it, whether that's just literally putting your face on it through an experience that you lived, a moment, a realization, some sort of internal anchor to make that content feel uniquely like yours. Attribute number 3 is volume without dropping the bar. And this one might sound a little bit like a contradiction until you actually think it through. The best creatives in the space have found a way to post a lot, consistently, and at a high level. Everybody's heard post less and just make it better. Everybody has also heard post 5 times a day, don't even think, just record it and post it. And I think both of these have their own issue, because you can take either one of these viewpoints and develop your entire strategy around it. You can say, okay, I only need to post once or twice a week because I'm bringing my quality up so high. And on the other hand, you're posting 5 times in a day, but you're not putting enough effort into it for people to actually care and to watch it. And so the sweet spot is finding a way to produce consistently 5 to 7 posts per week and 1 long form piece of content, all without dropping the quality below your quality floor. And so the floor of your content is literally just, this is the bar I will not go below. And this has shifted a little bit recently with the app content, but I do think that the best creators in the space have found a way to do both. They can use the app content as they want, but each week they're still showing up with 5 to 7 polished posts. And so volume is one of the most important pieces when you're trying to build connection with your audience. You need to spend real screen time in front of them. Ideally, they're watching your content for 1 or 2 hours before they're making any sort of decision. And through short form content, that is really hard to get to 1 hour. For a quick example, let's just say that you're producing 7 pieces of content every week that are 1 minute each. I think on the generous end, you could say that somebody's gonna see half of your posts. That puts you at 3.5 minutes per week. And if the goal is 1 hour, that's gonna take 17 weeks for you to just produce enough content for somebody to get to 1 hour of viewership. And so just remember that the only way you can build trust is through repetition. And so the goal isn't going viral, it's not getting reach, it's content minutes. How many minutes per week is your audience spending with you? That is the real number. And so for most people, focusing on getting 5 to 7 short form pieces of content plus 1 long form video every week is the easiest way to start building that up. And the reason we can't drop below our quality ceiling is because every piece of content that you create is either gonna move the needle up or move the needle down. And if somebody sees the next 5 to 10 pieces of content from you and they're just kind of blah and they don't really solve any problems, there's no usefulness, there's no creative output, people are gonna stop engaging with you. The algorithm's gonna stop showing their content, and that's essentially losing a lead. And so the enemy isn't volume, the enemy is volume without quality. AI carousels that blend in with everybody, generic messaging and generic content, they're just not gonna cut it anymore. So find your quality floor and make sure that all of your pieces of content stay above that floor. Attribute number 4 is understanding exactly what they have the authority to speak about. And so this is really all about just understanding your authority ranking. From my experience, one of the biggest problems with everybody who creates their personal brand is they get imposter syndrome. They think, why would somebody listen to me? There's a better creative doing this. There's a better person doing this. There's millions of hours of content that they could watch. Why would they choose me? And the reason is because they don't understand their authority ranking. And so basically your authority ranking is just wherever you sit inside your lane. We've already explained what your lane is, so now you know exactly what you should be creating content about. And so once you have your niche and you start creating content in that niche, the issue is understanding what you're qualified to talk about. And so as you go through every stage of your career, you're gonna have goals that are blocked by a current set of problems. You're gonna find solutions to those problems. You're gonna break open that next level, and there's gonna be an entirely new set of problems. You're gonna find a way to solve all those problems. You're gonna break through that goal, and you're gonna have a new goal that you're going for. But to get to that goal, there's an entirely new set of problems. And so this is your exact authority ranking. Anything below you, you're qualified to talk about. If you've solved those problems on a repeatable basis, you are cleared to try to help others solve those problems as well with the same solutions that you came up with. The problems above you that are stopping you from getting to your next set of goals, you just have to be very clear that you have not yet achieved those goals, you have not yet solved those problems, but you want to bring the people along to see how you're going to do it. You're basically guiding them vicariously through you. You're bringing them along for the journey to watch you achieve these goals that they also have in front of them. And so it's very important to understand exactly where you are, because this is where most people really fuck up. They think because they watched a few YouTube videos that they're clear to talk about these things, but they never actually experience them. And so once people start asking questions about these things, they start to get imposter syndrome, and they realize that maybe they don't have as much authority in that topic as they originally thought. So know exactly where you are. Speak about the things below you as if you're teaching them to somebody who has not yet achieved them. Speak about everything above you as if you are still learning it and you want to bring them along to learn with you. This is the easiest way to get over imposter syndrome, and speak with real conviction. Speaking in a way that you actually believe everything that you're saying. And by doing this and having total clarity in what you're allowed to talk about and how to phrase it, people are going to believe what you're saying so much more. And number 5 is a genuine obsession with what you're building. And this is what makes everything else possible. You have to actually give a real fuck about exactly what you're creating. It's not, I'm gonna try this out because AI said it's a very profitable niche. It's not, I'm creating this type of content because others have done it. It's building a genuine obsession with your topic. What would you study or create content about if nobody was watching? In the AI era, everything can be replicated. Your style, your cadence, your format, nothing is off limits when it comes to copying other creatives. But the one thing that can act as your moat is having a genuine obsession and working on the thing that every day you wake up and you're excited to get started on. That can't be manufactured, and it is a clear and obvious advantage over all of your competition. I spent 10 years building brands for companies with zero expertise. I literally made a website using Adobe Muse and absolutely fell in love with the craft. I love the idea of creating something, pressing publish, and seeing it on my phone, and being able to show my friends and family. And so I just became completely obsessed with it. I watched YouTube videos. Through that, I learned graphic design. I started building logos and creating graphics. Through that, I got into photography and videography. And each one of these felt like a new station in what I was doing. And through this, I just built a genuine obsession with creating. And that's the only reason that I'm still here today after 10 years of building brands, graphic design, making photos, videos, creating my own personal brand. The only way that all that happened was because I truly fell in love with the craft. And that's the only way that you're gonna find sustainability with whatever niche that you choose. And so the goal should not be thinking about what can I get out of this next week. The goal is what can I get out of this in 10 years. Find a topic that you're genuinely obsessed with and just go all in on that. And so the question before you go any further is, could I genuinely create 100 pieces of content without any return about this topic? If not, it might be worth rethinking and figuring out what you actually want to create content about in the long run. In the end, what I want you to take from this is that building a premium personal brand, it's not about hooks. It's not about the algorithm. It's not about finding trends and hacks. It's about being so specifically, distinctively, and unmistakably you at a quality level that actually reflects the quality of work that you're going to put into anybody who works with you. And that's the thing that's going to stop people from scrolling and to buy into you as a person. One-of-one positioning, content anchored with real experiences, volume without dropping the quality level, understanding exactly what you're qualified to speak about, and a genuine obsession with becoming the best in the world at whatever topic you're speaking about. And so if you're a creative with a real offer and you're thinking, I want to build something like this for my audience, that's exactly what FS Creative is designed to do. It's a 60-day premium brand install where we build your brand identity together, we build your visual identity, we build the content system to amplify it, and the funnel to turn viewers into customers. If you have any interest in that, click the link below to check it out, and I'll catch you in the next video.